open. You had three up. You had three windows open of Skypes. Now there's one.
I think we're ready to go here. Welcome once again to Wulfie Skype sessions. This is Randy MetalWulf from the Metallic Onslaught, and today we're talking to a couple guys from oh shoot.
It says Randy's recording the call.
I think.
Hey man, are you guys there? I just got kicked. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if everybody could hear everybody, we should just be.
Yeah, I have one screen that's functional. It says Randy's recording the call. The red light is on. There's three of us up on there. Yeah.
Okay, we should be good then. Anyhow,
Yeah,
as I was saying, this is episode 8, and today we're talking to a couple of guys from a. I guess people toss around the term super group, and I guess this fits. But yes, members of the Limit, and it's really the heritage of the members of this band that really stand out here, because we got Bobby Liebling from Pentagram, Sonny from Testors, and let's talk about before we get too much further. Talk about the other guys rounding out this band and your credentials above and beyond.
Well, we got Jimmy Recca played bass on the album. He's a friend of ours. He used to play in the Stooges and Ron Ashton's New Order, and he didn't do a project for a long time, and we were in touch with him, and we were very well aware of his bass playing skill and his talent. So we thought we were very honored that he agreed to do this, since he didn't do much over the years. He lives in Philadelphia, Jimmy, and I asked him, hey, why don't you, are you playing with some of the local people up in Philadelphia? He goes, no. And I go, why not? He goes, because they all suck. So we were pretty happy that he played with us, and yeah, Bobby knew him a little bit longer than I did, but we all hooked up.
Very cool. The album releases next week. Caveman Logic, and
you forgot Juan and Hugo.
Oh yeah, but let's hear about the other guys here.
Go ahead, son.
Oh, you want me to tell it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Bobby met Juan and Hugo in a Swedish sauna. They were all naked, and he was like rubbing up against them, and they didn't want to play with him after that, but I talked them into it. No, actually, I knew Hugo. Hugo's from Portugal, and I knew him before. We'd worked on some mastering projects and stuff, and he was very instrumental in helping us set this whole thing up. And he knew the drummer, and so we had a bunch of songs that me and Bobby put together, and we wound up going to Portugal to record them with the Portuguese guys. With me, Jimmy, and Bobby flew over there. Took like a 34-hour duration flight to get to, with all the layovers and stuff, and then finally got to Portugal, and we did it.
That's very cool. So yeah, the album, as I was saying, it's called Caveman Logic. Releases next week on Friday. I think the 9th is what I'm seeing. I think.
Yep.
I've definitely scoped out, because you guys have been sharing stuff on Facebook. Videos for Black Sea and Kitty Gone in particular. I am really liking it. It's a good blend, and it just makes me think of like really awesome retro garage rock.
Yep. Me too.
It's like nice. It's this raw, dirty, very down to earth, no bullshit.
Yeah, it's a no bullshit, no frills, straight ahead approach. It's kind of like the classic punk and heavy rock fusion, and it also has some spices in it, because we've got a few guest guitar players that play some really hot ass leads on there, and makes it gives it the more nowadays technological touch, if you want to call it that. I think this stuff is just straight up kick ass rock and roll.
I think that's kind of what we need.
Yeah, definitely. Not enough of that.
So let's talk about, recording progress. Has COVID kind of put a damper on how that's been done with you guys? I mean, I know that's been the case with other artists.
Well, we recorded it before the pandemic actually was hit, before it was publicized. So we were in Portugal doing it. It did affect us because I was going to go back there and do some more guitar parts and start up the mix. But my flight was canceled because of COVID. So then we had to learn how to do the mix remote. Our engineer was in Portugal, so it was like a lot of weeks and months getting it straight. And but we just hung with it and we made it through. So yeah, but it the COVID thing did piss us off, of course.
Yeah, it was like it added another 3 to 5 months onto the project. And the robot.
What was that?
That was random.
That sounded cruel.
Yes, it did.
That's the guy looking for uranium.
That's Bobby's chip.
Geiger counter.
Bill Gates put a chip in Bobby. I think that's his chip.
No, that's a Geiger counter. We're panning for oil.
So let's talk about some of the, it's like the songs. What are some of the themes that you guys were looking into on this?
The themes?
Sure.
One is like about eating a sandwich. The next song is about eating a cookie. And the other one is about making a cucumber salad with a vinaigrette. It's kind of like a culinary delight, this album.
Yes, I get that. And it is definitely ear candy.
Yeah, well, Bobby wrote all the lyrics. So, I mean, most of them, I wrote the lyrics on a few of them, but Bobby, I really like the lyrics because they're very kind of autobiographical. And
Gotcha.
Bobby can tell you more about his.
Yeah, they're kind of, most of them are on a disgruntled bummer type of trip. They're a bit dark and there's a lot of complaining. And here he comes again with the Geiger counter. I'm in London. Oh, I'm sorry. So as I was saying, they're on a kind of bum trip and they're disgruntled. A lot of the stuff is it's pissed off stuff. It's got an attitude, which lends to the punk feeling to it. Like
it's good to have.
It's garage rock. It's all like that. Garage rock bands were always, they'd vomit the words out at you like that, because they wanted you to know what they're talking about, and I mean it, So it's kind of like that, kind of directed, and about, my personal situation in life and the way I view things, kind of. There's a couple of social commentary ones, but for the most part, they're pretty personalized to directed towards someone I might have been thinking about at the moment, or just my own inner thought.
It's always good to have an outlet for those thought processes too. It's like everybody needs something.
Yeah.
Even for those darker thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I had a lot of years of darker thoughts.
I've had my share.
Expressed them in lots of strange ways.
It was funny. I had a hospital stay a little over a year ago, and I like to draw, and I had a sketch pad that I had dropped off to me, and some of the doctors and nurses were like, "You've got some skills, but man, that's really dark." And I'm like, I'm kind of like that.
Yeah,
I'm not evil. I'm just
dark.
So you're in the hospital scaring the nurses, huh?
Yeah.
Well, not intentionally.
Yeah.
It's the album has a kind of a somber feel to a lot of the songs, and then some of them, are just kind of like screw off, I'm out of here. you know, you did me wrong type of thing, but it's tried to be put into a way that, you know, wasn't just total street level. You know, it's got a little complexity to it here and there.
It's kind of like, you know, the album is really hard, but at the same time soft, and it's really mean, but at the same time kind, but it's really fat, but at the same time skinny. You know, it's just a crazy mixed up album.
There's a lot of nuances going on.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that it's always difficult for, you know, the persons who made the music to talk too much about it, because it's what's really cool is when other people react to it. You know, like somebody did a review of the album, some guys in Scotland,
Mm-hmm.
and we had fun listening to them kind of going mental and talking about the songs. But what we think about the songs, it's kind of like, you know, once you do it and once you make them, then it's just kind of out there. You know, I mean, something that might be interesting to talk about is that aside from the music, Bobby, Jimmy, and I didn't know each other. We didn't know each other well at all. You know, the stories of, you know, groups like, you know, the Beatles, you know, they grew up in the same city. They have the same jokes. They had the same familiar, you know, streets and everything. We didn't know each other. We came from different parts of the country. Suddenly we're together on a huge odyssey to Portugal to record an album. And to be honest, it really wasn't nice. It was a real negative experience. It took us a long time to find our channel and to, you know, to get a lot of
Get plugged in,
plugged,
so to speak.
get ourselves plugged in, you know, with each other. The music part, once we started that went natural because we've been doing it our whole lives and was kind of normal. But there were so many horrible negative scenes, you know, like we'd be in the middle of a restaurant in Portugal and all the families would be there having dinner, and, you know, normally there could be a table with some rockers and they just look over interested, and, you know, everybody just has a nice evening and has dinner. With us, it was like, you know, Jimmy and Bobby would start arguing, and Jimmy would start screaming, and they'd be fighting, and the whole place is looking at us like it's a scandal. You know, it was like really terrible. You know, even when we were leaving Portugal, like we were standing in the line at the airport, and you know, Jimmy says, "Bobby, you just knocked into me," or "I'm first," or, you know, they're just fighting. And it was so extreme that the lady at the ticket counter at the airport was going, "If you guys don't stop this right now, I'm calling the police." You know, it was like that kind of extreme. Like, you know, eventually we did find our channel, and we were all in love like a bunch of fucking hippies. But it took a while. It took a while to get that kind of thing going. And a lot of the groups, you know, that people hear about, you know, like the Stooges, they all grew up in Ann Arbor. You know, it's like they all knew each other. You know, it's just we didn't know each other, so it took us. We're blessed and lucky that the music clicked, but the hard part was getting to know each other. Me and Bobby are basically the point men and make most of the decisions about our music our whole lives. And to suddenly work together with somebody else that's that kind of an alpha asshole is difficult to get used to, you know? And so we did. And
Yeah,
then
we
became,
bumped heads a lot. I mean, it was, you know, it
yeah.
wasn't easy at first because we do kind of figuratively head things up in the organizations we, you know, endeavored into in the past, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But eventually we became more like a, you know, a two-headed monster rather than, you know, being against each other.
Yeah, and some of the best collaborations actually work that way too. You know, it's like it doesn't always have to be all, you know, flowers and candy.
Yeah, that's what we figured, man. It's like, you know, I mean, we it could have been nice, you know, but we went through a lot of growing pains, and you know, but I suppose there's, you know, bands that record in a very nice situation and they really are having a beautiful time, you know, like, "Oh my God, it's so lovely. Shall we have another cup of tea? Oh yes, indeed." And then they make an album and it's like some kind of room temperature soup. Maybe
Yep.
we were pretty fiery and pretty crazy. Like really, like we were doing a radio interview, and I'm a very tolerant, calm guy. But at some point during the radio interview, I said, I will throw this roller suitcase through that control room window if we don't. It was really everybody's buttons were being pushed all the time. Like, and they put us in an apartment all together, like Lord of the Flies or something.
So how was that experience over? I mean, I'm sure you already kind of implied it's one apartment with there was like what 5 guys in the band.
No, there was
Well,
3 of
it
us
was 3
staying
of
on
us.
apart. We were supposed to have 3 separate hotel rooms, though,
Gotcha.
and we
Yeah.
were in a 2-bedroom apartment. So we walked in, and Sonny spotted the initial bedroom, and had a bathroom in it, and he darted for that. And then my eyes went around the room, and I got the second one and ran into that one and said, "This is mine." And Jimmy was left standing in the living room next to the couch with no room. And that's where
Very
his
pissed
room
off.
was.
Like like we weren't going to Portugal with some kind of rock star protocol. I told them we're cranky, we're older, we need 3 separate rooms after such a long journey to chill out in. We need 3 separate, hotel rooms or motel rooms or containers or whatever, but separated.
Separation.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes separations you can chill out first, you wind
Yeah.
down.
So we wind up
no,
in an apartment, and Jimmy's standing there at the couch and goes, "Fuck you guys! I don't get a fucking room. This is just like when I was in the Stooges." He was very pissed off, and it was like, Randy, that book, and they made a movie called Lord of the Flies. It's like. Some kids are shipwrecked and they wind
Yep.
up on an island and they behave like complete beasts. That was us. We were like, it wasn't friendly, it wasn't nice, it was arguing and fighting and all kinds of bullshit all day, every day. And like, and we had to rehearse, and then we went in the studio, and that was the saving grace. We had a great engineer, Paulo Vieira, and we didn't fight with him because he knew what we wanted almost telepathically. And
he was very calm natured too. He was a typical engineer type of nature. He did have that. Engineers always seem to have this even keel that they can pull out of them when they're in a studio. Because they got to be so objective. Let's face it, I got different clientele every single day.
Great guy.
Hard.
Great guy. And by that time, we did start to, get along. It's like, but it wasn't. We decided for these interviews that we would just be honest. Why say like, oh yeah, it was really nice, and there was kind of a 40 kilowatt hertz frequency in the studio, and he put some padding in the corner, and that made the cymbals sound better. We just wanted to be honest and say that we didn't really know each other. There was a lot of
we were treading on eggshells, to put it bluntly, the whole way through. Really, were with each other.
Yeah. Right on. No, sometimes it's that kind of energy that'll bring out the best in a project.
It was kind of a it was a process. Yeah, it was. I mean, now we get along. We learned that. Like I think there was just a lot of learning how to let go and trust the other person. Like with Bobby and me, like when we talked on the phone about doing it, he had a lot of trust because he had heard my music and he was going, I want some of that. Let's do this, do it this way or that way. But once we got together, he didn't want things to screw up. So he wanted to do them his way. And I didn't want things to get screwed up. So I wanted to do them my way. But as we worked together, we started realizing that we both, like, for example,
way would be the best way.
Yeah. Like, for example, in the mixes, I would listen to one of the mixes and take a few notes. And then I'd say, hey, Bobby, listen to this mix and take a few notes and tell me what you think. and our notes matched up exact. Bring the guitar up here, bring the bass drum up there, so then we started to develop trust because we were headed toward the same goal.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing things then as a profession, and supposed to be, fairly well skilled at our profession, both of us, because I mean we've been doing it a long damn time.
Oh yeah.
And so we kind of got proficient at working together, and making it our concept of things, and we did coincide on all of the production ideas and mix ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Hugo, our friend from Portugal, he was like one of the calming factors because Hugo's a really sweet guy, and we almost brought him to tears a couple of times with all the bullshit. But Hugo was kind of the steady, stay the course kind of guy, and he was a good spirit that kept everything going. Another good point is Jimmy just tore it up on bass. And that was what we were looking forward to, that Jimmy hadn't really been that active for years because he didn't see anything out there that he was willing to attach himself to. And he agreed to do this with us. And he's just shining on his bass parts. And there is a lot of good stuff, and of course, now that we went through it all, it's kind of like going through a war zone. You know what I mean, Bobby? It's like we
Yeah,
did
well,
that. We're
it's like
brothers.
giving birth, but now we had this beautiful child.
Yeah. Well, a little pissed off child with a switchblade, huh?
Yeah. And a leather
So,
jacket.
speaking of that child, let's talk a little bit, because I'm not sure how much time you guys were willing to put in here, but I do want to kind of talk about the album name, Caveman Logic. How did you come about that?
Well, Bobby wrote the lyrics to that one. I wrote the chords changes and all that, and Bobby wrote the lyrics, and he came up with the title Caveman Logic. When we were putting an album cover together, one of my friends, one of the initial attempts at an album cover, a friend of mine had a photograph, and he said, okay, well, I just put some text on there just to show where it would go, and he chose the song Caveman Logic just as a place marker to put on the example of how an album cover might look. And we thought, oh, that's just happened randomly, but that's a great name for the album. But Bobby wrote, the lyrics, and he came up with the concept of Caveman Logic. Maybe he can tell you more.
The words to it are about myself, in essence, and not that I'm some kind of Neanderthal, but that I have an old-fashioned spirit in the way of the things I listen to and the things, the way I do things and so forth. And I'm kind of set, in my ways now. I'm older, okay? I found myself, as the Maharishi would say.
I completely relate.
So the words are about... it says, I'm frozen in time. It ain't a capital crime. I'm safe and insane in the Rain Man, and using a lot of play on words too, like the Rain Man thing. Just that I'm stuck in this pattern, this holding pattern. I've been like this my whole life, and it's where I come from, not in logistically, but in the musical path. I've never really wanted to veer off and do something drastic, and I don't think this is either. It's very, a lot of people have asked us, well, how is it, man, coming from all this doom metal? And I never played doom metal. I played doomy hard rock.
Right.
And now that you have to subcategorize every goddamn thing, it's not doom metal. Doom metal, I can't stand doom metal. It's pretentious. It just plods along. It has no changes. It has no dynamics, no continuity. The guitars are all fuzzed up, and the singing, if you want to call it that, half the time sounds like plumbing.
I've found that to be true. But I like some doom metal, but
yeah, I mean, I like some doomy heavy hard rock. Let me put it that way.
Right.
But what they call doom metal now, you really can pretty pretty damn clearly coin what you're going to get, and I'm talking like 80% of the time. It seems like.
For me, it seems like a lot of it just blends into one song blends into the next, and there's not enough of a dynamic change to really tell one from the other.
They're all slow and plodding. They're all fuzzy and droning, and they don't have a lot of change. They just don't have dynamics.
It's really redundant.
I think it is very, very redundant. You know, very pretentious stuff. And it's just like, you know, in Pentagram, I don't think we played doom metal. We played heavy hard rock. The songs got a lot of dynamics. They got changes in parts. They got riffs to chords to little links, you know, and so forth and so on.
Well, it's like if you look at like Black Sabbath, I hear doom metal applied to them a lot, and I'm like, Sabbath? No, I mean they were.
Well, it's doomy hard rock.
It is.
It's just downtrodden.
A lot of blues, jazz.
You know. But I've always, you know, all the bands that I come from, initially, I mean, I started playing music on stage in '65. Okay. Yep. And it's the garage era, man. And it's music that's belligerent, which Pentagram is, the limit is, punk stuff is. It's music with an attitude, which Pentagram has, the limit has, punk has, Sonny's got that. It's, you know, we all kind of came from a certain time when, you know, music was a lot more fresh, of course. The forming of a band was a new thing in the mid-'60s, you know. There weren't many rock bands as such yet, you know. It's just starting to happen.
We just got together, and we didn't really plan, like, you know, we didn't say, okay, let's put, like, you know, 40% hard rock, you know, 40% punk, 10% flash. You know, we didn't think that way at all. We just knew that if we got together, we probably would create something cool. And, you know, and we just did what we do, and we're happy that people are, you know, resonating with it, because, you know, it is kind of like street rock, you know, kind of hard stuff. I mean, there's a lot of people that aren't used to that even these days. One person interviewed us, and I was kind of surprised at the question, because, you know, I didn't want to be snotty, because I want to be respectful to people, but sometimes, you know, you feel like you're, you know, the Beatles giving a humorous, you know, interview. But the person was going, well, I noticed that there's a lot of guitars all over this album. Was that intentional? And my answer was no. Actually, we brought a bunch of MacBook Pros with us, and we had some reverse technology that would take, you know, like bagpipes and turn them into cool whale sounds, and like we were doing some looping and, you know, sampling, and we had all this stuff like set up with our MacBook Pros and stuff. And so, but then the computers broke, so we had to break out the guitars.
That's awesome.
Sure.
So we're getting a little short on time here, I think. So one more thing I wanted to toss out. Any touring plans, you know, playing some of this stuff on the road? I mean, obviously COVID permitting.
Yeah, when we first heard the rough mixes, we were saying, you know, because we didn't make any plans like that at first. We just wanted to record an album together.
You can't make any plans. Let's face it. You know, it's like any plans, COVID permitting. Well, if there's COVID, there can't be made plans.
Exactly.
Yeah, France, did you guys know that France is in lockdown now?
Yeah.
The whole country.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, the stuff is stirring up again, and we don't know where in the hell it's going to go. You know, it could be the apocalypse, you know, for all we know. I mean, so there's no real way to answer that kind of a question. It's too up in the air, I think, right now. But people have asked us they've expressed a lot of interest in having us play and possibly doing mini tours, or, you know, a tour next year or something like that, you know, and or some one-off shows.
After all we went through, you know, we heard the rough mixes and said, oh, it might be good to play this in front of people someday. And when we heard the final stuff, we really were thinking, yeah, it'd be cool to play this in front of an audience someday. But, you know, and we got all hyped and excited. But now, you know, like Bobby said, we just got to see what happens for the future with the pandemic and all that, you know.
Yeah, it's the logic on that one seems to be, ask again in about 6 months. We'll see where we're at.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it is.
I would like to see it happen myself. But anyhow,
I just with the other band, I just had a tour put back on the schedule today for September. So who knows? I mean, that's the first time Pentagram's going to go to South America, and the whole South American tour just got posted today, reposted that it's on. So your guess is as good as mine, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we gotta
I
see.
get it.
I know one thing that Sonny and I have already definitely talked and really kind of put it in the on the earmark thing. What do they call that bag? You keep your bucket list, whatever the fuck it is. I hate that term. Yeah, shit in your bucket. But it's on our bucket list. Definitely, we'd like to do a second album. Most definitely, we really would.
Hopefully this time we won't have to travel 34 hours to the studio.
I hope that is able to happen for sure.
Thanks.
But anyhow,
You can
guys,
come with us next time, Randy, because we need some help. Like when we did a radio interview in Portugal, we were so frustrated. I said to the people listening to the radio interview, I said, if there's any psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors, security guards, like, please call this station. We need help.
you kind of like go the whole Metallica route and bring a counselor.
Hey,
and
yeah, counselor.
It actually seemingly did help with them. So
didn't help with the music.
No, it didn't help with the music, but
no, I'm just kidding. People love them, so I'm not gonna. I was just being.
I don't know. I can listen to that album and hear things that I like, but on the whole, it's just I don't know. It doesn't sound like Metallica to me.
They're a good band. I just.
They got a lot of talent. That's all I'll say about them. I'm not gonna. I have. There's a few albums by them that I adore. Some of them I'm not as fond of, and
I get it.
They're a great band.
Yeah.
They earned their place. They earned their place, and they worked their nuts off too.
That they did.
Sometimes it's really not charming anyway. Like to like there's been some bands that put out albums that's really crappy, but when you know what it takes to put out an album, all the effort, all the working on the artwork, and sometimes if you hear something and you think it's crap, it's better just to say well, it's not my cup of tea. It's just.
I think over the last year, for sure, since Sonny and I have collaborated and done this thing and so forth, and the limit and everything has happened, I think both of us have very, very much expanded that ideology of thinking, that you don't start tearing something up like on the radio, in the magazine, something specific. I mean, a group, or an artist. And I think we've gotten a lot more open-minded, both of us, about acceptance of things, because there were some things on the album that actually came out almost over the top commercial. And we're not about commercialism, that's for damn sure. But we love the stuff we created. It just came out. They're good goddamn songs. The songwriting is really pleasing. It made me feel good to do the songs, And when I hear them over and over, a million times, I still get a good feeling from them. They each have their own identity as a song, not the part or the player, just as overall composition. I think we both have expanded a lot in our horizons.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did. I've just kind of like looked around and figured, well, okay, this particular type of playing is something that I wasn't really used to, but the guy has added some cool flavor to a certain song, so you do tend to like open your kind of horizons when you work together with me and Bobby didn't really know each other. We didn't know each other's music at first, and once we got together, we kind of traded notes and hey, this is cool, and did you hear that? And oh, that's cool, and so really kind of a learning experience in some ways as well.
Very cool. So I guess it's like I pretty much tapped for anything else, guys. But we'll recap here one more time. The new album by The Limit, or debut album by The Limit, I should say, Caveman Logic, is going to be available a week from today on April 9th. And if you like good, raw, heavy rock and roll with some attitude, I can't recommend it any higher in that regard.
There's a lot of backwards masking on the album too, so like people should be careful. If they get the COVID shot, we've got like a DNA processor in the grooves of our music that will screw them all up, and they'll become kind of our drones. We're working together with Bill Gates and the Illuminati, so
that's right. We have become clairvoyant in this last year, so we've got to watch out for us.
If you're having trouble in your lives or controversy, just listen to the album, because you won't have to even think for yourself anymore, because we'll be remote controlling you.
Yes, it's got a hypnotic effect, and then some, right?
Backwards masking, all kinds of code popping out of the speakers that were originated through the Illuminati. We did a lot of work, let me tell you.
Yeah, listen to the album and soon you won't care.
You won't care about anything. You just be a drone. No, but we're excited because people are digging it, and that's what we're hoping for. So that's cool.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today, guys.
Right on,
very
Randy.
much appreciated. And I hope we can do this again after you release a second album.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, man.
Good. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Okay, so once more, Randy MetalWulf. You can see this on the Randy MetalWulf YouTube page, and visit MetallicOnslaught.com. Show us some love there. Show us some love on Facebook. We appreciate it when we get it. So yes, once again, guys.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, I wish I could say it was my idea, but we've been around since like the mid '80s to one degree or other. A couple posts here and there, but we've been a mainstay in this area for over 3 decades.
Where are you? In upstate?
How old am I?
No, where are you?
We're located in the Finger Lakes region, New York State. I'm in Seneca Falls. One of our hosts is in Waterloo.
Okay.
Newark, Ithaca.
Yeah.
We're all in.
Right. New York.
There's a guy in Ithaca. Do you know this guy? His name is Bill Mumford. He owes me $5. Do you know?
I've known a guy or two named Bill Mumford. It might be the same dude.
Well, make sure that you play him the Limit album, and there's the locked door to the room, so he has to give attention.
Just tell Bill Mumford I'm on the lookout for his ass. Okay.
That's right.
I will pass that along. All right, guys.
Take care, Randy.
Yes, take care. MetallicOnslaught.com. This has been episode 8. Catch you later.
Coming at you.